DIRadioCast.com, and we are live from Chelsea Pier in New York City. And we're going to do the DI Mobile Report, talk about the exhibits during CE Week. As you know, we have been in New York City from June 23rd, and today we are going to talk about CE Week, our experience at CE Week, as well as the exhibits, the who, what, when, where, and everything in between. Hollywood, you know, let everybody know your expectations first of the exhibit portion. We talked a little bit briefly about the conference portion on Tuesday, June 24th. Now let's talk about the 25th and the 26th, the exhibits and the exhibits, the panels, and the press conferences.
Okay. Well, in most cases, when we attend events, and this one not being any different, I try not to have a certain. I try not to draw any conclusions before I go into the event. So I was excited to be here at CE Week, having heard plenty about it previous times from you. So I just was happy to be here and to see what the experience was like. So that being said, um, I did have a good time, learned a lot. I think it was valuable from a number of standpoints. They did share some key information. As always, they were forward-looking as far as the direction of the industry, CE and such. And there was lots of nice toys and
For review,
all right.
let's just get that straight.
Who's that for?
That's just to let it be known. Like, there are people that come out to these events and they gather products and do nothing with it. Like, the products that we gathered are for review.
All right. Well, I don't take issue with that personally because if you don't do your review, you're just helping me because you won't exist in that realm. But yeah, have an opportunity to check out some of the new up and coming um, electronics devices things. Yeah, get the opportunity to be able to review them, check them out, use them. I'm excited about that.
Well, you know, after having attended C Week for the past few years, I want to say about 4 or 5 years, 2010, I believe we started. So yeah, about 4 years after coming out here. Um, this year, it's been in the same location for 3 years consecutively, and I was somewhat disappointed with the week. Usually, there's big announcements, there's trend something disruptive to introduce or to give details on what has happened over the course of the 6 months between CES and CE Week. This year, I didn't feel like anything really happened in the industry. Like, they were still having the conversation about Ultra HD. They were still having the conversation about 14K. They've reduced the conversation about 16K. I haven't heard much about 16K, but the majority of the talk was around Ultra HD and 4K on the TV realms. Um,
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but that I do I do want to echo because as I mentioned, they do look forward. But a lot of the things that we heard this week were things that you had and I have been in discussions about, prior to coming here. So yeah, again, just kind of echoing what you said, I was looking forward to hearing some few more things that we may not have already been aware of that are coming down the pipe.
and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that social is a major part of technology now. So a lot of the things and a lot of the trends that are coming up in technology or consumer electronics are based around the social sphere. So we heard Facebook, we heard Google a lot
Right.
during the week. And that was on almost every panel. They had to acknowledge those platforms. Uh, During the conference or during the CE week, Google actually had their conference out in San Fran. So a lot of that impacted CE week. I'm assuming a lot of that impacted CE week as well. We didn't have the Digital Times and the Silver Summit, which they usually have addressing health for the elderly, but we also paid a lot of attention to wearables, which is a trend that's a growing market, um, which is taking up a lot of steam right now, picking up a lot of steam. Now, keep in mind, for the past 4 years, like I've said, they moved CE Week to New York in 2010. And for the past 4 years, I've been hearing about digital health, digital fitness. I think that it's less cumbersome than it was before. I remember the first set of stuff that I saw in 2010. They were really big and intrusive. I think that they're trying to get smaller and more practical and something that you don't have to really think about, just something that you instinctively do. Um, so wearables, 3D printing, there was conversations around that, and also the conversation that was had was also, oh, we talked about the connected car, TV everywhere, um, wearables. There was something else. Oh, robotics, and the idea of having a robot that did multiple things versus doing one thing. And all of the robots that I've seen to date seem to be one dimensional. And then most of them fall under the toy category. They're not necessarily, I mean, with the exception of the the vacuum cleaner, the robot vacuum cleaner, which doesn't really fall under a robot. It falls under household appliances. I haven't really seen anything that impressed me in the robot section, with the exception of the companion robot.
Yeah.
Not here. It was at
Right.
CES.
And that, yeah, I would say for me, as far as the robotics was concerned, that was one of my questions. It seemed right now, at least as far as what they're making the public aware of, robotics is for the most part in the realm of toys.
But you did hear what they said in the panel where they talked about how Google has purchased. I think they said D1 or something. One of the major robotic.
No, he said like 6 or 8 robotics companies in the last
Yeah. Well,
six
I'm
months.
I'm, I'm saying the major
Oh,
one
okay.
that is responsible for the humanoids, and what are they going to do with it, and tactics behind it and stuff like because when you think about it, when you start talking about robots and you're programming them to understand human cues and stuff like that, like what are you training them for? Like we in the gentleman made a wonderful point on the panel, on one of the panels, when they talked about robotics for the next generation, said that in America we kind of demonize robots,
Right.
whereas in Japan,
Robots are helpers.
yeah, they're helpers, they're friendly. So we as Americans, or we as people that live in North America, we kind of,
Yeah, and let's define it. Yeah, like when we say demonize the robots, I mean we mean in culture. Look at the movies that you watch.
yeah, like,
The TV shows. Like all the robots. Going as far back as Terminator.
yeah,
Movies like that. RoboCop even. Those type of movies. The robots were
yeah,
always
iRobot, like
they were
everybody
always evil robots. So,
yeah, they're like great. They start out helping, and then all of a sudden they take over, and they're like, "Fuck you, people." So it's like, okay, at some point the robots become smarter than the humans. And then there was a session on You're gonna have to help me with this because I've been saying it wrong for 4 years now.
Augmented
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 reality.
reality
Yes, so you're
versus
gonna have to
virtual
say that.
reality.
And, and kind of explain that for the people so that they can understand what that means.
Admittedly, for me, even it's still a fine line of distinction. But virtual reality, most people are familiar with. You see, yeah, again on the gaming in a lot of cases, virtual reality like with the headsets and things. But the augmented reality,
It kind of distorts your perception of reality.
yeah, it's more of you're really truly fully immersed in whatever that that realm or that reality is.
Now, the gentleman, I believe his name was Randy, made a wonderful point with augmented reality. It seems like we're losing the ability to connect on a human level. And while while electronics is supposed to make your life simple, we still have to realize that we live in a society with other human beings. So no matter how simple we make stuff, we still have to be able to communicate with each other on on a personal level.
Agreed. That,
So
as I mentioned,
how do you kind of thread that thin line and kind of make it so that it suits both needs?
I think the simple axiom, everything in moderation, covers that. I mean, yeah, I did take issue a lot of times with people saying, oh, parents especially with your kids, oh, turn off the computer or go outside, stop playing games, you won't know how to, and I guess, probably from a verifiable standpoint, to some extent, it probably does have an impact on, human interaction. At the same time, I don't think you can hold back technology or point the finger at the technology because of that. You need to hold people, or people need to be held personally accountable. Like, yeah, if you OD on technology, that's not the technology's fault. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of vices out there. I mean, alcohol, drugs, whatever your substance of choices that you may be abusing, you can't blame the substance. So, albeit again, I think it probably does. Kids, all the texting and everything, kids really can't spell anymore because they don't use correct text language.
Well, not even that. Like I must say, like I've been tested, and it's been proven that I do have a form of dyslexia called dysgraphia, and it's not that I can't spell it. I just see words, even if I know how to spell it, it can be my name, and I'll place content differently because in my head I've already written it out, but on the paper my hands move slower than my mind.
But I've been seeing that a lot lately on my stuff. Like, I write a word and go back and like, that's not what I just wrote.
Yeah, but I have a software called Ginger, and it corrects it. So, I would say technology has helped me because at one point, as well as I wrote, I was afraid to actually become a journalist after spending because I didn't find out until like the last year of school. Actually, the last month of school, I found out. Like, okay, so you guys let me go through 4 years of this, and then you decide to test me? Like, had you test me before, I would have just did video. So, but with technology, it's made me more confident in writing. So, I would say that, yeah, I can understand. But even so, you still have to have some level of understanding on phonics and everything else, grammar, phonics, all of that, in order to be able to construct the sentence and to write. Because it can't correct something that's like
Just wrong
technically
altogether.
wrong, functionally wrong. So that is a problem. And I think that they have software to teach you and educate you, but how many kids care? And if you're talking to somebody, if you're communicating with somebody that doesn't even understand what they should be reading, like you always correcting me. I'm like, okay, whatever. But you know It would be different if I was speaking to somebody that didn't even know that this word shouldn't go with this word, or it should be present tense versus past tense. So that is a problem. Now we talked about those things. Let's talk about the exhibits. Who you saw, what you liked.
Okay.
What stood out? One thing, one product that stood out this week.
Well, for me, the one product that I was looking forward to see and did get to do an interview with, you'll get to see on the DIRadioCast very soon. Make sure you check back. Um, but the iStick. I was really excited about that. Anybody who knows me knows I'm really a champion for Apple products, iDevices. The DIRadioCast is big on mobile devices, so I shoot a lot of content with my iPhone, um, and
Oh my God,
I'm
this
very
dude is
well
taking.
versed on my iPhones and iDevices. So um, doing it in the park. Excuse me. But yeah, so the iStick is a basically a USB for your iDevice. Now, people who are familiar with iDevices, you'll know how huge that is. I mean, add or remove anything from your iDevice, you have to sync it. You have to go through iTunes. Yeah, at the bare minimum, you have to plug it into your computer and connect to the iTunes. And I didn't even know this for a while. There is drag and drop capability. I always thought you had to sync you don't have to do that anymore. Now you just have a USB connected device. You just pop it in there, and you can stream movies. You can add content, to or take content off your iDevice with just simply this little device that plugs into the bottom of your iDevice. That's huge. So for me, that was the highlight, I think, of the showroom portion.
Well, I wasn't pretty much looking forward to too much things. I did see a product. I did see a product announcement that I was interested in. I didn't find it. The product announcement was about an app that weighed your food and calories, and it did that through a fork. And I really wanted to get that product just because I have so many curiosities and questions about it. However, I didn't get a chance to see it. What did strike me, the standout thing that struck me, was an aerodynamic car
Ah,
by, what was the name of that company?
the L.
No.
Yeah, don't make me mess it up.
Well,
We'll
we
have the
have the
interview on
video. We have the video, so
DIRadioCast.
you
Good
can check
job.
that out. But it's a three-wheel car, a three-wheel vehicle, I should say, a three-wheel vehicle that's shaped aerodynamically, so it cuts wind. It
Wait. Let me do the guy thing. It's a $6,800, 83 mile per gallon vehicle, two-person vehicle.
That's a guy thing.
83 miles per gallon this thing gets.
I can tell you it's cute.
It's $6,800.
Yeah, $6,800 now,
They'll be coming on the market soon. You can actually get in on them.
and it comes in. It comes in. This is it here,
The Elio.
Ilio.
Elio Motor.
Yes, it's 84 miles per gallon on the highway, two seats,
Intent.
engineered,
Back to front.
5-star crash test safety rating, American made, and the price is $6,800. And it includes AC, power windows, lock, AM, FM stereo, and 3 years at
1,000 miles.
36,000 mile warranty.
And the great thing about it is, aftermarket, you can customize it, and they'll do the customizing for you in a lot of different ways. If you want to add leather sheeting, if you want to add aftermarket stereo, or if you want to add some other, niceties, accoutrements to your Ilio, they'll do it for you.
Now that product struck me. I think it was more so the price point and the product and what
It's
it did.
6,800 miles. I mean,
Yeah, and
83
and,
miles.
and and how much you can get out of a tank. Like I can fill it. It has 8 gallon tank. I can
Is
fill
that
up.
what he told you?
Yeah, he said 8
That's
gallon
it?
tank. So you can fill up a car for $32 and drive from.
Wait. Yeah, 645 miles on a tank of gas, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so we can drive pretty much from New York City back to Georgia
645 miles on one
for
tank.
$32.
That depends on your gas. Because, yeah, if you live where we live, we're still at basically 350 in Georgia right now.
Yeah.
And 350 times 8 gallons, that's less than $30.
So I thought that was amazing. The other product that I really like, and I think I like it because it's a wearable product, it's actually a wearable product, was the Hex. The video will be up. But it is a tank top that tracks your body. It tracks your body and all of your heart rate and all of that stuff. And so I was interested in that. I like the concept behind it.
I'm going through all our
He's going through
cards
the card to find out what it was.
You'll see how many different. Let me see how many different people we've made contact with. These aren't just throwaway cards either. These are people that we intend to follow up with.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and those are people that we actually did interviews with, and you'll see their videos up on DIRadioCast over the next 2.5 weeks. So that's what I like. Now, what I wasn't impressed with, is there a product that you were like, okay, a lot of hype, but
I won't name any names, but just kind of in general, I did mention this to you earlier. I did kind of feel like some of the products, albeit they were pretty creative and ingenious, I just kind of felt like, it's one of those situations where technology is just helping to make us lazier. Mm-hmm. They're often, there are products that solved problems, honestly. Mm-hmm. There was one device called the something leash. It essentially is a extender for you to plug your USB, your whatever device, charging device, through a USB into this plug. You plug it into the wall, and the leash, what it does is when you remove your device from that plug, it gives an alert to you so you don't forget to unplug your plug from the wall. Or if you happen to be a few feet away from it and somebody unplugs your device, it'll sound an alarm and notify you that somebody or that your device has been removed. Here's the thing about that. I am certainly guilty of having gone somewhere, plugged my thing in the wall, pulled my phone out the USB and walked away and left my charger in the wall. So I certainly can't deny or question the viability of this product. At the same time, it's basically like, since you can't remember to pull your charger out of the wall, we'll create something that's going to help remind you.
I mean, you don't feel that that's a useful tool?
Again, I've forgotten my charger. It happened the other day. We're at Tanice's office, remember?
Yeah.
We walked away from the phone, right? It happened to chime an email, and I was like, oh, got to get my phone. But, yeah, I just feel like, like if we were, a little more, if I was paying attention, I wouldn't have left. I'm not saying people aren't forgetful, but I'm saying that's to me is like, it was creative because he probably, the creator probably ran into that problem. But really, it's just a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. You know what I'm saying? That either you're forgetful, you're doing too many things, you're irresponsible. One of those things needs to be modified in order for you.
Not necessarily the phone part.
Right, it's not the phone. Yeah, again,
just you need to be modified.
Right, it's not the phone's fault. So,
all right.
So from that perspective, I do feel like, albeit like I said, some of the things they definitely solved problems. I don't feel like they will really need. They weren't necessary products.
Alrighty. I can't really say, like, I saw stuff that was like, okay. Like, I saw stuff that just didn't intrigue me. Nothing stood out or jumped out like, yes, this is it. This is what I was waiting for. Like I said, we attend CES, we attend CWeek, and then we pay attention to Mashables. We read all of the electronics updates on a daily basis. So there was nothing that stood out that really said, oh, this is something new. This is something groundbreaking. Like, they were doing home automation. We just did a panel on home automation. You know, so what is there new? And really, the things that are new are happening in social, in and around social.
Yeah, being big on the social media side myself, yeah, like it was undeniable that pretty much technology and social media right now go hand in hand. Like everything that they were talking about as far as if you're developing products, it always has some, now they're creating it from the beginning with some way to integrate it with your social media networks and platforms. So definitely social media is driving a lot of the technology and a lot of the products that are coming forward.
Now, did I not tell you that when you go to these events, there are only a few people in the panel that look like you and I, and the rest of them are upstairs.
Glasses? What do you mean?
And so, what happened? I want you to tell the world because people don't believe me.
Okay. It's sad that we might have to bring this up, but yeah, this is true. I actually wrote an article. You can check it out on DIRadioCast a few months ago about Black Girls Code and that movement. But you may or may not know, Silicon Valley is 99% white male dominated. Minorities, be it Hispanics, blacks, women, make up, yeah, basically a smidgen of the percentage of people who are kind of involved in that industry. So being here, there were other African Americans.
Oh, definitely, there were.
So yeah, they're probably more than I even expected to see. But at the same time,
How many were in the panels?
yeah, I don't. I honestly, there was, aside from you and myself, maybe one or two others in each forum, each panel discussion. Um, yeah, we weren't there to kind of do the education. We weren't there to kind of network and talk with the people that have some influence or some significance in where the industry is going. I will say, shout out to JBL Audio. They had a bumping, event yesterday afternoon. Um, well catered, nice food, good drinks, good music with a DJ, giving away good products. And
And
when we went up there,
they had great synchronized performances.
right. And we went up there. That's where I realized that's where all of us were, enjoying the atmosphere, the drinks.
And quote unquote networking with people that
So
weren't influencers.
right. So me now, yeah. Let's put the positive spin on this. Personally, one of the things that I took away from, and I'm happy, and you certainly expressed it to me, but being able to like immerse yourself and be in the company of influencers and like people, like these are the bosses that are sitting on the panel that are walking around that you can walk up, that you can interact with. I mean, when I say like, yeah, the Facebooks and the YouTubes and the Googles and all the major players, Monster, like these are the bosses of the industry that are here as CE available to you. So, I certainly took every opportunity that I had to approach these people, follow up with them on LinkedIn, or whatever social media platform I may be able to contact them on. Just say, hey, this is who I am. This is what we do. Even engage with them. How can we interact with you as far as, having you on our platform, or maybe it's something that we can help you with. So yeah, certainly I valued that, and you've been coming here for years. This being my first time, you know, I'm everywhere like air. I am Hollywood kid, so you know, I'm just being serious. Like by the end of by the end of this week, when we came up, like people they recognized us by face, albeit we're
You
the
cannot
couples,
not
the
recognize
black
us.
girl with the blonde hair and the pretty boy.
And the blue glasses. Come on now.
So people will recognize us, but it wasn't just because how we looked, but it's because how we handled ourselves, because we approached them, because we did interviews. I will say that, black, white, or otherwise, we were at media events. And if I'm being critical of the media, I'm being critical of the media. But rarely did I see people, I mean, they had cameras. They weren't really using them. Take a picture here, take a picture there. I didn't see a whole lot of interviews going on. Interaction with the exhibitors it looked to be more personal than professional, if at all. So I only point that out because people noticed us because we approached exhibitors. We did interviews right here on the showroom floor. We're talking to them live. And yet people saw that, they made sure that, if they were in our vicinity, if they were around us, or if we approached them, they were open, to doing interviews, to making sure that we followed up with them, or at least they could follow up with us. So, it was fruitful, absolutely, for us as a network, for us as individuals, to be able to, immerse ourselves in this environment with these people that, like bosses. Yeah,
And then the different thing, the other part of that is in those conversations that start off as in the professional realm, they bud into relationships because they see what you're capable of and they respect your opinion. And that was one of the things that, over the course of
Well, let's Miss Spears. What's her name that we saw at the Women in C event on the first date?
Judy.
Beers.
Oh, Beers. Charlotte.
Charlotte Beers. Yeah, she. The first slide on her topic, when on her discussion, was relationships are greater than W. And she's the one who branded America, as we talked about on our past video segment. So, like, she is the queen of branding in America, and even she points out that your work it has to be great, but at the end of the day, you really only get to that work if you have a relationship, an established relationship or rapport with the person. So, absolutely, being able to network and communicate with these people, I can't tell you. Like I said, CBS executives, I saw them, and I just reached out to them on LinkedIn. Hey, I saw you, at the panel discussion today. I think it was a great discussion. I hope you don't mind if I connect with you. They don't have a problem with that.
Oh, and they love that.
And I guarantee you, outside of those circumstances, that's not something that will happen.
Yeah.
It just won't happen. They're not. You can't just walk up to them. Typically, if they're in there, you can't just go office on whatever floor on Park Avenue and say, "Hey, Hollywood's here for a meeting," or Hollywood wants to chat with you for a minute. But in this environment, it's a little more relaxed. Yeah, it is a little more semi-professional, personal. If you know how to kind of engage them on that level. So I don't want to belabor that point, but I can't stress enough the value behind. Yeah, I plan on being here future years because they know me. Next when I get here, I guarantee they'll be like, "What's up?"
Now, in saying that, there was another observation. There are some people that have been here for 6 years, and I didn't see a notepad,
A laptop,
a laptop, a camera, or a microphone. But they were demanding product to review. And what are you going to tell an old guy with a cane?
If I see one more 75-year-old man go in and grab him a pair of Monster 24Ks, I would be salty.
All right, I'm gonna address this. Monster. I'm not gonna call any names. You guys know who you are. Monster. What do they know about a Meek Mills? What do they know about living the 24K lifestyle?
At 80 years old. Dream chasers. Stop.
They're dream chasers.
Stop it.
They're daydreamers. Come on now.
Be nice though. But there was a lot of, I don't know, pandering. Like, stop begging for products if you're not. Like,
and then you make it bad for people that actually do stuff.
Right, because there were cases where they made it clear, like, hey, I want to make sure, hey, you don't have to worry about DIRadioCast. We probably did a review on you before we got here, let alone once we saw you.
Yeah. And some of the things that we went and did the review, the interviews with, were based on stuff that we had already addressed on the network, just to have a follow-up piece to kind of be like,
confirmation or verification of what we've already done.
Yeah. So that was interesting. But seeing that we got into the 24K, let's talk about all of the headphone people. And usually I don't cover headphones, but because Hollywood is the music guy on the network, we did the headphone thing. But I'm really not a fan of that, because that's where the African Americans reside. And the other part of it is that the African Americans that come out, they come out to push consumerism. And I feel like if we're coming out to a consumer electronics event, we need to be in the panels figuring out how these things impact our communities and the productivity of our workforce. Not necessarily trying to sell people products just because it fits into a lifestyle or it's something new, it's shiny.
That I will say was for me a clear delineation in CE Week. The two, it was a dichotomy. You have the forums where you have speakers and good conversation, and then you have the showroom, which was clearly, I mean, it's called consumer electronics, but make no mistake about it, it was about consumerism. Everything on that showroom floor was about consumerism. Big, huge TVs, 4K, everything, that it looks cool, it's fashionable,
And
it's
how
new,
does
it's
that
now.
impact
But at the end of the day, yeah, it was about spending money and lifestyle and looking good, and it
those
lacked a
are but
lot of
those
substance.
are the things that which is those are the things that were pushed. But I think that had we thought of it from a marketing perspective, how can this support your ecosystem? How can this support your community? How can this increase your productivity as whatever profession you're in? I think that we would get more of a response when people can kind of draw a correlation between the products and what it is they do in their everyday lives. The other part, a lifestyle product, something that fits into your life, but not necessarily, but is of benefit. Weston House has the digital boards for education that allows you to do collaborative work in a workspace and turn that collaborative work into a document right away and send it off as a PDF and send it out as an email in type format, even though you're writing on a board. I think that from a professional standpoint, whether you're an educator or a business professional, that's an awesome product.
But clearly, that wasn't a consumer product because
Well,
the
it
price
is.
tag alone speaks to it. It was
Yeah.
what, $25,000
It
for
was more
one
than it was
for
more
one
than it was
board.
more than an average public private school can afford. I'm
Right.
sorry, an average public primary school can afford.
Well, I mean, obviously, the price is going to come down on them. But yeah, that yeah, as useful as that is, yeah, you won't see those in people's houses
Well,
anymore.
you won't see it in the urban community. And
We can't
again,
afford it.
a lot of the things that we're talking about, like 4K in automated homes, where does that fit in the underserved communities, which is the new urban,
And guess who's going to be the ones buying all the 4K?
the urban community. So
You guys are so hard on the urban community, Africa.
I'm realistic.
Well, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. I
I'm
expect a
I'm
lot
I'm
out of
I'm
us.
I'm realistic. Why would you spend $4 or $5,000? That's a used car. No.
We spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars after standing in line for the newest Jordans. We spend hundreds of dollars on Beats by Dre. We
No,
spend
not just.
hundreds of dollars on True Religion jeans. Um, Consumerism, unfortunately, is what's one of the things that's problematic in urban and black culture.
And there and back to the headphones. There's so many headphones on the market, and we're spending all of these dollars on these products because of a name, not because of quality and sound content. It's like, both you and I, having been in and around the music industry for some years now, we know the difference between good and bad. Like, you can turn on a song, you can tell that the song is hollow. It sounds like this. There are double beats someplace in it. Like, we can hear those things, and I'm sure, and it's because we've been exposed. Like, we know what tape sounds like. We know what CD sound like. We know what vinyl sounds like. We know what the crackle in the record sounds like. But there are people that have never experienced that. So listening to a pair of $400 headphones that is bass heavy only works because of the name behind it, not necessarily the product itself.
We like bass anyway. But yeah, let's not talk at it for me. Let me talk to you. Here's a quick hint, note, piece of advice. When it comes to headphones, we're listening to most of our music in compressed form anyway. MP3s have been compressed from larger files. You lose data in the compression. You're really not hearing what the creator expected you to hear in the first place. So even though you may spend more money on your headphones or whatever
You're still not
device that
getting
you're playing,
the quality.
you're not getting the capacity, the full capacity, the quality that you are supposed to get with the product that you purchase because it doesn't work on that device. Same thing with 4K video. You know, right now the uses for everyday use for us, it's minimal because most of us who are viewing videos or watching videos is YouTube or what have you. We're loading up videos on videos. Again, it's compressed, and you're not going to get 4K quality even if you shoot it in 4K
and
when you
yeah.
upload the video.
And
So
even if you're streaming in 4K, your capacity, your video compression is based on your bandwidth. So like right now we're shooting with an HD camera, but whatever you guys are seeing on that end is based on the bandwidth of the Wi-Fi that we're using.
which is right now
So
keeps dropping and stuff.
so we have to understand that as good as we make the product, in reality, the devices or the distribution outlets are going to compress the quality of the content. So it doesn't matter if you're listening through $300, $400, or $25 headphones. Well, you can definitely tell the difference. 24, but the price tag is not going to improve the sound quality of the track if the track is compressed.
Right. And then there again it goes back to and this is something that let's speak on still on the Dre Beats and the whole Monster thing. Like even Monster they probably recognized it well after the fact. But at this point they recognize that deal that went down with Dre Beats, Dr. Dre and Apple really was more about branding than it was about the quality of the product. And I think now that they recognize that they're taking steps to lead and make sure that they are in control of that. So as much as they're a products manufacturer, companies have to become marketers and branding, and you have to be good and efficient at the way you market your product.
Agents of change.
Elsewise, somebody like Dre Beats that was created by Monster is sold off for $3 billion, where Monster, who makes, we made Dre Beats. We're better than Dre Beats. They could have bought they could have bought Monster probably twice for what they paid for Dre Beats. Dre Beats been on the market for how long now?
And Monster has been around for 35 years.
Right. So, but that was the branding genius behind Dre Beats. You can't be mad at them for that. So it's about lifestyle. So back to what we do as far as branding and building brands for especially independent businesses and artists. It's huge. I don't care what your product is. If you don't market it correctly, if you don't market it to the right demographic, if you don't have some nuances or some strategies to separate you from the next part. I mean, look at the headphone market. It's saturated. I mean, but everybody knows Dre Beats.
But and that's the other thing. The industry is saturated, and we have so many headphones to review. And I think, I support Monster.
Yeah,
I support Monster more so because of my personal relationship, not necessarily because they do have good product, but more so, my personal relationship tells me to support that product. Same way I support Google, and I can tell you that they have shit products. They have some shit products.
Well, I just think, having just been my first time to meet a lot of the guys at Monster, they just were nice people. They were cool dudes. Shout out to Kevin Waddles, and And even the head monster,
Noah
Noah
Lee.
Lee, he just was a cool guy. So I like them just because they were nice. But definitely want to give a shout out, and we'll be doing a review on their headphones too. Bob
Lacosta.
Costa,
Yeah.
have Bello Diagnostics. Had a long conversation with
Oh,
him
he was
just
just
about the industry, about how they came involved in the industry, and then just beyond that, personal life, about his life and ours. Just sit there, having an opportunity to chop it up. It was really great.
And think about it. This is the person that runs and owns this company.
Right. And
Then we sat there for almost an hour just chopping it up with the head guy in charge.
So appreciate that. Definitely, yeah. I really was unfamiliar with the brand, but just because we had a chance to sit with them and talk with him, nice guy and everything.
Yeah, we would be more native. Like, you know what? If you're looking for a lower price point, these may be the ones that you want to check out. Not necessarily. I mean, of course, we did listen to it and we did pick out what sounds good, what doesn't. But at the end of the day, when we're looking at price points, that might be something that we would prefer just because we got an opportunity to intimately make a connection with that particular person.
Right, and don't get us wrong. I'm not gonna not give an honest review.
Oh yeah, no.
But at the same time, I'm inclined to do the review because I had an interaction with him, and that goes both ways. If in the future, when in the future we reach out to these entities, they've had an experience with us, they've come in contact with us, they're more inclined to say, hey, let's pick up the phone, answer the phone when calls, or let me respond to this email, or when Hollywood Kid sends me an email, because they know who we are. So I'm back to the importance of the networking piece.
So, in final words for CE Week 2014, what are some of the things to look out for in the next 3 months, getting ready for the holiday season? What are the things that you feel are going to be on the market?
Well, let's just kind of recap. What was big so far? We talked about, what was big? Robotics, home automation, digital health, 3D printing, wearables. Those things were huge. I see, those right now, kind of, especially like with the wearables, the health, digital health. Albeit, I personally think that's faddish. I think we're going to see a lot more of those things coming about. I'm kind of just excited to see what direction things are going. Again, I don't feel like they didn't show us anything that was just like that moment where you saw that product, like that's the next wave of things coming. I think improvements upon what kind of are the hot things right now, like you said, the wearables and such, the home automation. I think we'll see like next generations of those in the next 6 months when they're approved upon. So I think that's going to be improving kind of on some of the things that are existing right now. I think is what's key, for it to be able to move to the next level.
And I concur. I echo those sentiments. I definitely think in the next 3 to 4 months, as we approach the holiday seasons, we've been talking about Ultra HD and 4K. I think that first they have to bring a standardization to Ultra HD before that can even take precedence in the market. But I definitely see that being the next thing that's going to be available in the next 3 to 6 months, just because we're looking for the next big thing. Again, digital health is a major factor, especially when we're starting to introduce digital health to the elderly population. More and more people are paying attention to their health. And this is also a classism thing, because there are portions of society that don't even care, but then there are portions of society that are being, I would say, influenced by,
misled, hoodwinked, run amok.
They're being influenced by the trends in technology to participate in this. And there was one thing that made that all of the digital health people talked about, the fact that people want to be able to do it without so much work. And I think once they take it and make it easy for people people to participate, we'll be able to see more and more people doing it, and we'll be able to implement it in lower income lower income
I think that's key. I
places.
think that's key. I again personally, I think a lot of it right now, just like we were talking about with the headphones and the Dre beats is hot. I think digital health and wearing the health bands and things. I think that's faddish right now. Obviously the implications and the impact it can have are promising, but I think people are only doing it because it's stylish right now. It's cool. People say, "Oh, you got the Nike running band." I think it's stylish right now. People are lazy. Like you said, most of them right now, you're required to input loads of data and those sorts of things. And people aren't just going to do that. They're not going to do it for
They're
an
doing it.
extended,
They're doing it,
but
but
not going to do it.
it's
It takes a
yeah.
commitment, a
Yeah,
long-term
the
commitment,
people are not committed. I can say that
which
because several I've had several applications that track my food and my intake, and the fact that I have to scan every time, like I'm cooking a meal, I got to turn around and scan it, make sure that I put the spinach in, I got onions in here, I got tomatoes. You know,
right, and albeit that has some sort of interactive,
that's
I
not
guess.
interactive.
Well, I mean that's the point. That would be the argument. At the end of the day, people aren't good. That's like having a relationship with whatever your app is, or whatever your thing is. Like it takes commitment, and we're
Yeah,
all afraid of commitment. So I think that's right now that part of it for me is it's gonna subside. I think, but more importantly, I think as you mentioned, making it available to all communities. Right now, the price points for most of those digital health devices is not something that the urban
it's not
community can afford.
economical.
I mean, not only are we less concerned with our health, we don't eat healthy, and
So even if you,
that may
yeah,
be because of demographics, that may be because of where you live, or because of your income levels. But at the same time, yeah, because we're focused a lot of times on survival, we oftentimes look at our health as a luxury, as if most of us think we're gonna live forever, we're gonna be fine. We don't go to doctors, we don't go get checkups because I'm fine. I don't need a doctor. But preventative care, and that's what a lot of the digital health is set up for, to be able to kind of predict or kind of give you a clue to some signs to say, hey, listen, this is going on. You may want to go get this looked at. But if we don't have these things at an affordable, reasonable prices for the average Joe, then it really doesn't matter.
yeah. So the rich people stay healthy and the poor people die.
If that's what they were setting it up to do, then I guess.
Hey, it works. All right, DIRadioCast. This is the mobile report, and we are live from New York City. And yeah, that brings the week to a wrap.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, Africa, for bringing me along. Sidekick, right hand man, whatever you call me, digital media specialist, Hollywood kid. Never got a lot.